Hello, everyone. Welcome to Awaken Hidden Truth with Scott Lemriel
And Perry Vince,
and Perry Vince.
because with Perry Vince, Scott Lemriel would not be talking to a lot of people who would tune into her YouTube channel on behalf of this work, or her hotel meetings, or what she does for these radio shows. That's the free will of Perry to contribute co creatively to something that most people on Earth right now cannot begin to comprehend. Most people are afraid to discover who they really are, what they once knew, and why they exist. This is not a statement of fiction, it's a statement of fact. People on earth are afraid to meet the supreme being. They're afraid to leave their bodies. They're afraid of death. They're afraid of this, afraid of that, afraid of this, because it's subconsciously motivating them to make decisions based on some kind of fear of the present and future. This traps them to earth. And they're creating it, co creating their own entrapment. My work for years has been to try to get a few people awake enough to help make and bring about a transformation for this planet. We don't need a great many. We have millions, even billions, that are not native to this planet and weren't born here who are involved in this change now. And it's heading our way, right through our solar system. It is not something anybody on Earth can avoid. When I say people on Earth, everyone will know extraterrestrials exist. They might think that's pretty hip and slick and cool, or they may think I'm nuts. But when I say that everyone will know, it means they're going to have to change quickly, swiftly, in quite unexpected, dramatic ways in order to accept the greater God out beyond Earth they claim to worship. Because they're hypocrites right now. They're not really worshiping love for all life. They're just worshiping their own little clique on Earth for their own little niche. That's not big enough. That's not good enough. That won't set this planet free. So great change is underway, but it's not because of the people on Earth who are of our own free will awakened enough to ask for it, to co-create it, to want it. Nobody on Earth wants it to stay the way it is, and yet I say that, and yet the majority of people here are afraid to change any of it until it kills them, until it wipes out all life on this planet. And they'll say, God, why me? And then God will show them why they did it to themselves, of course, again. And they won't be dead, except their bodies will be gone. This is just one planet. Do they really believe that an Armageddon on this planet is the end of all life in the universe of trillions of worlds on multidimensional levels? Are they that arrogant and self-centered and selfish that they only think that way? Unfortunately, people make decisions based on subconscious fear. That's negative. Fear is negative. It produces repercussions in space-time that come back as negative results. Can't do anything else. That has to change on this planet, on a planetary scale, if people are going to survive what's coming. And if this planet is going to be invited to be part of a much larger God, a much greater life beyond just this one planet that is in the God they claim to worship. People want to embrace freedom and a larger God. They're going to have to respect life all the way out there. There is no shortcut for this. None. People on Earth have to step up to bat or perish again. So it wouldn't be the first time life has been extinguished on this planet. This is no joke. Everybody can see what leaders on this world are doing to destroy this place by making decisions that are not correct, that are negative, based on fear. Unjustifiable fear. If we were really alone in the universe and much vast, great, wondrous life did not exist out there, all life on this planet would already be gone in nuclear war long ago. Something prevented that. And it was not the people on this planet at all that prevented that. Not one. I think it's time people on Earth started to grow up and start to practice the love they claim they are practicing, which means they're going to have to get used to respecting and loving a life all over the universe. There is no shortcut for this. Now that that serious stuff is out of the way, we can have some fun. It must be that people like Satnam and some other great beings that don't live on Earth in much higher planes wanted to communicate this telepathically to anybody that will ever watch this particular radio show. Because the opportunity is for people to survive what's going on now and have things change in ways no one will see coming in unexpected new ways. Because if it's left to the people on Earth by themselves, they will annihilate themselves. Guaranteed. Again, they would already have succeeded in doing that during the Cold War, had something not stopped them from launching nuclear weapons. And what stopped them was not from Earth. It wasn't. All right. Perry and I talked before we started the recording of this show about where we should go. As she knows, I guide a small group of people, and have for some years now, on private journeys beyond Earth, outside of Earth's negative atmosphere, and we go out and explore the multidimensional nature of creation. This takes some time for people to be able to start to grasp how to know and perceive and see things beyond Earth, because they've been brought up to not see any of it, not believe in any of it, not even understand it. And they've been brought up to fear it. Everybody knows their life is short and then they're going to have to go somewhere. Where do they think they're going to go? Do people on Earth really think they're going to be invited to some heaven, as immature and selfish and self-centered as they are, so they can go up there and destroy whatever heaven that is with their negative thoughts and feelings? There is no such place anybody will be allowed to enter permanently being like they are on Earth right now, any more than they'll be allowed to play among the stars, amongst races who already occupy all those worlds out there. We are never going to have the right, China and Russia, United States, to go out and fight over the spoils of space. They're running into a brick wall because people in space is already occupied. We have to grow up and be accepted into a large organization of world systems. Just because people have been lied to all this time in a classified system, decisions made by people who were in fear, might I add, that fear has to be let go of, because disclosure is inevitable. It's not a question of asking governments for whether or not they'll choose it anymore. It is inevitable. It is not up to people on Earth anymore, because they're self-destructive and they don't have the right to misuse free will in that way and harm other people out there beyond Earth. No, we're never going to be allowed to do that. So wherever Earth is headed now, it isn't where people think. You get online and look at YouTube and go on Facebook and look at the negative crap that's on there. Fear, terror, horror, good stuff, jokes, saving animals, people, sex, women doing yoga, pretending to do yoga to show their genitals off to people. It's silly, really, but it's the way immature people are with each other. It's mindless entertainment. And if you look at all the stuff that's out there, it's not helping the world in any way. It's just promoting more fear, isn't it? How can people on Earth be expected to know right discrimination, the opposite of lust, which allows them to see in wisdom how to make correct choices, but not based on fear? How do you get people to do that who don't even know what the words I just said mean? So my work and why I'm on this planet is to be a benefit to all life, not just human life, by the way. No. People on Earth are meant to be custodians and caretakers, trusted to care for life and the environment of this world. And they are doing exactly the opposite of that. And they think there's no price to pay, that they're just going to go to some heaven. What? No, it's more likely they'll be recycled in another body and have to live here again with no memory because they're screwing this place up. They haven't earned the right or shown anyone beyond this earth they have the right to go to some heaven. It's absurd. What do they think beings from other worlds and higher dimensions look at this earth and see how we are? That they're going to invite us to come and play with them? And by the way, bring some nuclear weapons along with you when you come over to visit for lunch, huh? Do they really think they're going to be allowed to do that? No. If they blew this place up tomorrow, we'd all still be alive. You wouldn't have any of the bodies you have now, but you'd still be alive. And then you'd be sitting there going, now what do we have to do to fix this? Because they will be required to fix it. No one escapes this. I suppose I must say, if people wanted to, if they could let go of their fear just long enough to take the risk to leap into the Hue deep enough, it would not only instruct them properly, but provide a protection along the way so they can recover who they are, meaning why they exist. What is the purpose of existing as running a body on Earth? Well, it's to be a co-creator with the source behind all life. There is no other answer than that. And people on Earth are required to come up into that understanding sooner or later. Might as well be sooner, if you ask me. You were going to say something, Perry.
Yes, what you said is very right. People on Earth, I think they don't, how can I say, not conscious enough what they're doing can destroy the planet Earth. Right now, here in the north of Thailand, we have problem with the PM, with the dust. They burn after harvesting, and then people breathe the air. It's the main problem every single year. Yeah.
That's another abuse of life, and people think it's the right thing to do. People in Australia murder millions of rabbits, beating them to death, men, women, and children, because they've allowed them to proliferate unnaturally. The Australians are the fault, not the rabbits. They can't accept this. They blame it on some animal. But they let it get to this point, see. The radiation that was coming to the Pacific Northwest of the United States when the Fukushima 3 of 4 plants blew their tops right off. The radiation should have killed everyone in Japan, many people on the west coast of the US, and part of China and Russia, just from that one accident, and it didn't do that. But it wasn't because of any classified military industrial complex on this planet that prevented that. No. The plume in the water was coming to the Northwest and being measured by the governor of the state. We were actually paying people to go out and get samples of seawater. It was going from 60 rads up. And then one day, it just vanished from the ocean. Nobody in the US or any other country did that. It was done from off-world. It's classified. But this is the kind of stuff that should not be classified anymore because it's copping out. It's people on Earth that are in positions of power making decisions from fear that the rest of the people don't have the right to know this, but they do. It's hypocritical at best and silly. But it's because they're afraid. Only because they're afraid of what will happen if they tell the truth. The thing is they're not realizing is, still to this day, in all the attempts to shoot down alien craft and all the stuff they've done, no one's retaliated and wiped out life on this planet or neutralized all our weapons and taken us over. They could have in 10 minutes from space. It's not their nature. So you'd think after this many years, people would have learned that they're not here to attack and bomb cities from space or any of that. And the tyrant races that were coming here have been sent away and they aren't allowed to come back. Now this leaves Earth and its people stuck in a programmed subconscious domain they didn't even know was done to them, so that they can't reason or think for themselves. And they're being denied the simplest, most basic truths about life in other worlds and out in the galaxy. They send a big telescope out there that uses infrared to see further than has ever been seen before. And they show everybody on Earth these billions of galaxies that just keep going and going. The further they look, the more there are. And they don't get it. That energy that's out there in space between all those galaxies is divine spirit, what they call divine spirit. It is a non-nuclear energy. Dark matter is not dark at all. It's just in a higher vibration than human eyes can see. That's all. And it's everywhere. It is a non-nuclear, non-atomic energy that exists before nuclear and atomic energy and matter and supports it. People are praying to it all the time, but they don't understand it. They don't know how to communicate with it anymore. It's all one way. Give me this, give me that, give me this. It's supposed to be, they imagine this, imagine that, imagine this, and it fills that. It's the one power that manifests what we imagine. If people are busy imagining negative present and future, they're trying to destroy themselves because they think it'll give them a free ticket to heaven. It won't. It can't. It never will. It never is going to be that way. People are going to have to grow up, let go of fear, and they're going to need help from people, friends from out of town, from off-world, in order to accomplish this, because they no longer have a high enough awareness to do it for themselves. This is a fact. I'm not making this up. I'm not making any of it up. My work on this world is not a threat to any religion or government. It's there to help wake them up so they can really work together and start living very differently than they are now. The technology to regrow limbs, to turn on certain genomes so you live 1,000 years, to have no disease. These are ancient, ancient, ancient perfected technologies off-world amongst the stars, people out among the stars. How to neutralize negative thoughts and emotions packed in the Earth's atmosphere is a piece of cake, easy as pie. They could take every single nuclear device on this planet right now, every radioactive isotope that was man-made that's deadly, and turn them into powder from space. There wouldn't be anything anybody on Earth could do about it. Now, what would happen if that happened? And now there's no nuclear war threat that anybody can put on anybody. What would governments and people do then, do you think? If their ability to destroy themselves was removed from grace, from kindness. Is it possible? Yes. Would we ask permission anymore from people on Earth whether they want nuclear weapons anymore? No. We would not. Because they don't deserve to have the right to do anything they're doing. There's a big universe full of life. And Earth's just one planet of human beings of different races out of billions, trillions. Do we really think we have the right to project the backward, senseless bigotry and sadistic behavior of Earth people to each other and to life out there among the stars? Do they really think they're going to get away with that one? No. Disclosure isn't about harming anyone. It's not about killing leaders It's not about that. It's about getting them to wake up to stop doing what they're doing from fear. That's all. Because then they'll make right decisions collectively. There needs to be one government on this planet, and I don't mean a negative one. And they're going to need help to establish that from outside this world. They're not going to be able to do it on their own. That's obvious. So the work that I put out there is for their benefit. They already know it, but they're still working from fear and they're hesitant, and they want to disclose and they're starting it, but they have a limited time in which to do it, or it will be done for them. That doesn't mean harming anyone. That's the way Earth people think towards each other out of fear. People from outside gave that up a long time ago. Well, Barry, you and I talked about going to this realm of Satnam. What is it? I thought, most people think, well, this must be about UFOs and extraterrestrials. Well, it is, but it's much, much, much more than that. It's about remembering who we are as energy beings that is not made of matter, not atomic or nuclear in nature, not DNA, not molecules, not genomes on the DNA, not a brain, not a body, not blood, not molecules, not atoms, not protons, not neutrons, not electrons. Those are the illusion of solidity. And it's supported by another energy that is not nuclear that holds. It's like there's this energy out in space between all galaxies that appears black. But we know from these other telescopes it's not black. They still haven't developed the ability to see what that black area looks like. They look at galaxies and they see all these infrared and all these other colors. They're not looking in the right direction because that energy out there appears black to human eyes that are limited on Earth from seeing but a small spectrum of light is a white golden energy. And everything like stars and planets and galaxies create these toroidal fields around themselves to float in it. The more advanced races know how to communicate with and work with that one energy field, that one living, omnipresent energy. We access it as beings running bodies through the hue, the first half of the word human. It vibrates the cranium upward only and makes a connection through the pineal gland, center of the brain. The secret's out. It cannot be hidden anymore. This work is not only not a threat to this people on this earth, it's a way to save them from themselves. We are not now, nor have we ever been alone in the universe. Disclosure isn't just about telling people everywhere on Earth that extraterrestrials exist. It's about showing them when the time is right, when they can accept such gifts, such wondrous beings coming here. And then this world can change. It's not about one country ruling over another. It's about people working collectively together for the good of all life. Duh. There is no shortcut for this. When we go on these journeys, we meet up with some friends who are not native to Earth, like Ambassador Turelian of the Say-Rays race, human race. We meet up with some master teachers who are both stationed on other worlds in our galaxy, in different parallel dimensions in it, on worlds. Some are stationed on Earth in a higher parallel dimension, not in the, like Agam Des, where that is, and where Shambhala and all the Shangri-La and all those kinds of things. They're not in this physical universe in the Himalayas. They're in a molecular time rate up. If to change your molecular time rate, and then you see another Earth around you, pretty much in the same space, but vibrating at a higher frequency. The toroidal field around a craft that's antigravitically powered can be moved up and down through these parallel molecular dimensional levels in the physical universe. Craft built in the universe do not go into what we call the next heaven, astral plane, but they can move between 144 of them here. So outer space isn't just occupied by beings in the planets you see around those stars. It's on levels.
That people on Earth have to learn how to change the vibration to go to a different parallel world, no?
Yeah, and it's done through the imagination, and I don't mean anything in your brain, because the human brain doesn't imagine anything. What did he say? The human brain doesn't imagine anything? No, it doesn't. Think about practically. Let's say you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree in filmmaking, 4-year degree, and then you start making films, and you write something like Star Wars, you write The Lord of the Rings, you write Harry Potter, you write whatever you write. There's nothing in that person's upbringing on Earth, in that one lifetime, in that brain, that could ever come out of their brain. So it doesn't come from the brain, because the brain is not designed to see a projection on a motion picture screen from a camera of what you imagine. It is the spherical shaped being running the brain and body on Earth that people have been made completely ignorant about and are afraid of it. What they call soul, or what more advanced races among the stars call Atma. The spherical shaped energy from the source itself, made of exactly the same thing as what they call the supreme being, on a smaller scale, like a drop of pure individuality in a mighty ocean of this one energy. There's just one energy through all the multi-dimensions. And it supports all the different levels. As people begin to learn more about how to work with this, they become enlightened, they become kind, they become custodians and caretakers of worlds and planets and galaxies and stars. Beings, actual beings, care for these things, but not people on Earth. They can't even care for what's in their backyard very well, much less animals or the nature, or the air, or the water, or anything else. The technology to correct the problems on Earth is ancient. There are beings out in the universe who would give that to us at no cost or charge, no gold bullion, no platinum, nothing like that, just to make us sane, so we could be invited into a greater organization of world systems. And that's just in the physical universe alone. Disclosure is about bringing to the awareness of people in the entire planet what is out there, because they come here all the time. They don't attack and bomb cities or destroy. A few beings have come here that were negative, and they were escorted out of here. Not by our military, not by anybody on Earth. Just to give us the opportunity to change. People can't be expected on Earth in mass numbers to change, because they're too heavily in fear. They can't be expected to change with help from fellow beings out in the greater God they think they're worshiping. The childhood of humanity on Earth must become adults, because they once were, even though they've been made to forget it a long time ago. And think about the spherical being we are, round. Planets and moons and suns and stars are round because they're made in the image of their creators. Period. It's not by accident. So what we are that's in the image of God is not one of these. Never was. This is a machine. It's a bioorganic, DNA-based protoplasm type of thing that only works if an atma is sending an energy through the pineal gland to run the brain, or it drops dead. Bodies do not run themselves. So simple. People on earth begin to remember what they've been made to forget through fear in this way. Life on earth will change quite dramatically. But they need to remember. This work is about helping them do that. Very simple. The 4 books I published were designed to be doorways to interdimensional awakening, interplanetary awakening, intergalactic, interdimensional. It's about going above the void known to certain esoteric groups on earth, high above the higher planes, these heavens people think they're going to. There is a barrier up there, and there is greater life beyond that barrier, that void. That is where we all came from originally. Now, if people can begin to remember that in a safe way, they'll bring that higher consciousness to the body they're running, and the world will be transformed. But we won't be doing it alone. It's going to require the expert help and assistance from vast numbers of beings out beyond Earth who know how to clean things up because they've done it. Will there be a price of gold bullion or money? You can't pay for this. You'll never be able to buy it, ever.
I have a question from Thailand, Thai people, Thai person asking, your work is very unique. Are you the only one who working like this to free the planet Earth and to free people?
I'm the only one doing this unique new way of doing things because it didn't exist in the entire multidimensional creation a little more than 9.5, 10 years ago, Earth time. It's something new that's coming out of what they call divine spirit, though, the omnipresent living power. Toroidal energy, 0-point energy, energy of the universe, black, dark matter, all that stuff out there. It's so huge, that energy, that little galaxies float in it at great distances. But that's the real energy that's giving life and support, good and bad, however people imagine it. Because what they're experiencing on Earth is from the mass of people's emotions and thoughts, perpetuating this destructive nature. Fear. Fear is artificially created and implanted subconsciously in people before they're born here. There's a lot people need to recover. And they need to have direct experience. I don't care what religion they're in, what government they're in. They need to remember, and then they'll do benevolent, kind, good things through all of it. It's their nature. But that nature only awakens when fear is turned off or set aside first. So the real trick is getting people to be aware that they've always had the ability to stop focusing on negative things about the present and the future. This is the only free will choice they really have that matters.
So imagine when people on Earth have no fears and there is huge living energy out there, so we can co-create a lot of good things for everybody, yeah, right?
And we're not alone. We get the help from master teachers in the Galactic Alliance, which is an organization of world systems. I'm speaking only of the physical universe now, just the Milky Way galaxy, the one we can see in telescopes. There is a planet near the galactic core that is a governing world for 450 million spacefaring planetary races, many of them human, humanoid, and many other races. And they're all benevolent. None of them have war. They don't fight. There's no war going on out there in space. If there were, Earth would be gone already. Silly for people to just say there's war out there because they're promoting fear, aren't they? They're being destructive. They're not helping. There is no proof, for example, of a war taking place out in space. The war is on this planet amongst its own people. That's a threat to everyone out there. They're never going to tolerate us going out in space this way. Would you, if you were them, allow us to do that? I wouldn't. So Earth is a quarantined solar system. And it will remain that way until this planet and its people can be trusted to play among the stars. And then the ability to go play among the stars will be given to us freely. We won't have to figure it out. We'll be shown how it works. because it was done for those races at some time billions of years ago too. There are countless galaxies out there, very many levels of advanced races. Most of them are good, not all. And the ones that are tyrant races are policed and kept in check now, and they're being changed. So there's really no threat from outside this planet to this world. The threat is from its own leaders to each other. Religious bigotry and fighting and all that. And the leaders on Earth come from those religious backgrounds, and they simply step up to bat, making decisions based on fear, unjustifiable fear. And they make wrong decisions, and millions of people die with no need for it at all. But let's face it, people on Earth are going to need help from people beyond Earth to show them how to get over this fear that's driving them subconsciously. It can be removed. It can be neutralized. It has to be in people's personal experience, or this world will go up in smoke. Poof, gone again.
I have an idea, because when you're talking about to remove the fears, the things that they can do now, no need to wait for the future, but what they can do now is reading the Zero Waste Agenda book, because you guide people to remove the secondary implant, to remove the fears, that works and helps.
Secondary implants, subconscious implants, contain fear, death, torture, and terror. They're based on experiences people had before they were compelled to incarnate in this planet with no memory. God's will. No, it wasn't. That's a history people on Earth have they're afraid to remember. Who can blame them? It's terror. There's a thing called a primary implant in the subconscious artificially created domain that people aren't conscious of, that influences their nervous system to make wrong decisions. That one cannot be taken out on this planet. It wasn't put in people on this Earth. The technology exists to remove it. But the person has to be consciously in the experience of confronting what it was for it to become nothing but a memory and not affect them in a negative way anymore. This is the primary implant. To get to the point to where a being can reverse all this, they have to have the secondary implants removed first. It isn't done by me. It's done by very advanced, well-trained people from other worlds outside the atmosphere of this planet. Not in it. Earth, its atmosphere that contains and covers this Earth, is a shield that not only contains an atmosphere you can live in and oxygen, but it keeps all the things people fear and see and think and imagine in the atmosphere, bouncing off the ionosphere like a radio wave to get around the curvature of the planet, but it stays here. Does not go out in the dark matter. That's non-nuclear. You can't store it there. So people are surrounded by every negative, dastardly deed that was ever done to each other and animals and plants on this planet, circulating around the atmosphere, surrounding them. They created it. It has to be neutralized. So the air is clean and the water isn't saturated with draining negative energy. The oceans of Earth should actually be glowing a foot above the ocean with charged energy. Can't even see it. How can people be expected to wake up in an environment like that? Well, they can't. So fear and its emotional feeling is not a natural, normal human state. It's artificial. And it was done to people, tyrants, out in galactic history. And they ended up on this planet with no memory. Their higher spiritual life, all that, gone. Other lives they've lived in other worlds, mostly extraterrestrial from this Earth, gone, suppressed. They had them, but they don't remember them. Nobody on Earth teaches them when they're growing up to remember them, so they don't know how to do it when they're adults, do they? If they're not taught to leave their bodies at will, like they do every night when they put the body to sleep, anyway, but they're not trained to bring back any awareness, then they're just trapped, aren't they? That has to be undone, reversed. The beings that can do this exist in great numbers, but they're not on Earth yet. Not yet. So in the meantime, people they can read the Sayre's agenda. If they think this is about money, they're thinking about their own selfish nature, their own fear. Because I've spent far more money in years in this lifetime getting this book and the Parallel Time Trilogy, 3 books, 4 books, out to the world through my own publishing efforts than I have ever made. It's not about that. I think we need to be very clear about that, or people are going to have a great misunderstanding. These books were created with friends from out of town, off-world, to be doorways for help them remember what they were made to forget in terror and fear. It doesn't matter what religion a person is or what political government they have. The decisions these people are making are based on unjustifiable fear that they're going to be taken over from somewhere else. They could have been taken over from the lesser important spacefaring races a long time ago, if that was the goal of the Galactic Alliance to do that. It is called in English, from Galactic Standard, the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. Free Worlds. It is an organization so vast, people on Earth can't even comprehend it right now. And that's just a little under half of the galaxy. There's another organization of world systems on the other half of the galaxy, and they work together. These are benevolent, very advanced races. Earth is this ball of dirt with twisted, backward people operating whole governments and money systems based on fear. That is only destructive. It can't be anything else. So this has to change. We don't have a choice. If we're left to our own devices on this Earth, life would already not exist here. They'd have already blown it all up. They tried to do it and were stopped from outside Earth. But he took over governments, landed ships, and put all the leaders of the world up against a wall and executed them. Nobody did that. That would have been easy. Nobody's threatened this world from outside. Some people who lie and deceive from outside that tried to get footholds in this world and succeeded kind of briefly for a short time were stopped. Not by us. Not by Earth people. The different races that are on Earth represent numbers of human types of races that exist in profuse numbers out among the stars, on planetary systems circling binary and trinary star systems, or the effect of gravity and things much different than Earth. They don't have the problems people on Earth have, having a barren moon that doesn't turn on its axis, circle the planet. There's nothing positive about that. That's not normal. How can people on Earth be made to remember why it's not normal in solar system history? There's solar system history they don't remember, afraid to. There's galactic history, their own, they're afraid to remember. And they must do that if they expect to be respected in heaven, so to speak.
If people want to know more about the galactic history, you can also read from your trilogy book, The Emerald Doorway, Guardians of the Ancient One, and Journey to the Center of the Universe.
That's true, and it's not a journey to the center of the physical universe at all. It's a journey to the center of Source, Prime Creator, far above the void known to certain esoteric groups. That trilogy ends up taking the reader, the bad guy who's taken there, on a journey through the planes to what it's like they've been made to forget. So it's designed to help people remember what they were made to forget. There's techniques in the back of this book. Big section not in any other books like this on Earth. This is a mile-long Emerald Star cruiser, bridge control room, both sides. It is oval kind of windows that are observation windows around its central section. This is stationed in the ice rings that make up the rings of the planet Saturn, and it's permanently stationed in our solar system. These ships patrol our solar system to do two things: to keep bad tyrants from coming here anymore, and to keep us from going out there, bringing all their destructive crap with us, to protect us from ourselves. The biggest threat is not from out here, it's from Earth. And it's misdirected people. So this is what this book's about what is changing amongst the Galactic Alliance races regarding how they view Earth that didn't exist before, and what is being planned. The Emerald Doorway, the first book of the Parallel Time trilogy, is about extraterrestrials and master teachers, this little extraterrestrial here named Etta, meeting this spherical being. This is from the fifth or higher dimension above the void. This is Kalem's ship, stationary, hovering, and they're floating on anti-gravitic discs. This master teacher is introducing them to this. What these beings in training, these three, don't realize is one of these is above their heads right now. It's identical to this, but on a smaller scale. So this is what this is about, extraterrestrial involvement in ancient Earth history over 100,000 years ago, just prior to the last flipping of Earth's poles, which has also been permanently stopped, to give people on Earth a chance to do what many beings on many other worlds can do, to evolve civilizations for hundreds of millions of years without interruption. There is this book, Guardians of the Ancient One. There's Etta again, and the master teacher, and Kalem and Melina. That's a moral. That's a very vicious creature. You find out what that's about. And then there is Journey to the Center of the Universe. That's a bad guy. He's human, but not from Earth. It's a fleet of ships. This is Melina swimming down under the ocean to a dome city in the bottom of Oceania. That is a planet on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. This is about what happens and what you see and experience going through the lower dimensions of time and space, through the void and to the other side and beyond it, because the energy changes there. So it's a journey to the center of the multiverse.
These 4 books are very well written and they are fun to read. And more than that, you can remembering more about yourself, who you are, when reading these books.
When you're done with going on the journey with Kalem, not Kalem, with Sean Rahl and Moon Taryn, Mark Sandfield and Janice Carter, and find out who they are. You come to page 290. This begins a section called the Sayres Agenda, Special Techniques to Safely Explore and Awaken Deliberately Hidden Truth. Preliminary Techniques section. There is a special technique using the hue. Hue vibrates the cranium upward only. It is a fourth sound you can make with the human mouth, not using the tongue. Ah, ooh, hue. 3, 4. The hue is the one behind those first 3 sounds. Primary omnipresent energy itself connects right to the source. So when we start plugging into that, there's a technique for the prologue and for each of the 29 chapters. And they're designed to help people remember the hidden truth that's revealed in this journey when people go on this story and explore it. Because they were involved in a way they've been made to forget in all this. So that's what these are for.
And just before we go on this radio show, just spoke to Lemrel that I had experience went to Saturn to remove the implant, you know. So you guys, you can have the same experience by reading this book and you know where you are.
Mark Sandfield and Janice Carter were very advanced extraterrestrial humans who came to Earth on a mission or intercepted because somebody betrayed them in a galactic alliance. Their wife was captured by tyrant races and they were blackmailed, basically. And so they were put on Earth and stuffed in bodies and made to forget. It's a story about how they recover what they were made to forget against all odds and then become part of a mission to help transform Earth instead of allowing it to be destroyed. This is really basically how every person on Earth got here. They are not native to this planet. Earth never, ever evolved human beings from some primordial soup, not from dinosaurs that went extinct and suddenly they became Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal. Those are extinct humanoid species. We did not come from them. We did not come from monkeys. Humans evolved out in the galaxy several billions of years ago, not even originally in the Milky Way. All human life represented on Earth was imported here, going back 65 million years to the time the big dinosaurs were made extinct. Where is that missing history in people on Earth? How did Japanese and Black people, what they call, I don't call them that, but I guess you'd want to call someone from another planet African American, because they're not, or Caucasian or Japanese or Chinese or any of this. These races evolved under different sun systems and different planetary systems out in our galaxy. There's a whole hidden history missing from people's lives on Earth. There's a whole galactic alliance history missing from people on Earth. It's their history. They have a right to remember it, to recall it, to recover it, but first they must drop fear. Fear prevents this. I hope that helps. When we work with the first half of the word human hidden in plain sight, and by the way, human languages as they evolved on Earth did not originate here either. They may have changed over time, but they were imported to this planet. The religions represented on this planet right now actually did not originate here. The actual concepts about worshiping a supreme being, that started in other world systems and was imported to this planet. In a history, unfortunately, that for people on Earth is just about tyrant kings and queens, murderous thugs and dictators. No good civilizations that existed on this planet are represented openly on this planet or taught to anyone. Lemuria, Atlantis, little bit's known about them. There have been cultural civilizations on this planet more highly evolved than we are today that have been destroyed overnight in this planet's history. People did not originate on this planet. No human being did, which means, quite literally, everyone on this earth is an extraterrestrial in origin. What's going to happen when everybody on Earth finally realizes this, I wonder? Because it is inevitable now. And I send out the hue. Ambassador Turellian was a human being. More than 1 billion years ago, the Seres race, thus the title of this book. S-E-R-E-S, but it's pronounced phonetically as if it was spelled S-A-Y-R-A-Y-S, Seres. This is a human race much taller than humans on Earth. 12-stranded DNA, not 2. And some of the more advanced human races out among the stars had 4.
If you guys want to see how Ambassador Toriel looked like, go to your website, prolotown.com, right?
Yeah, there's a gallery of images of characters in the books. Etta and Master Ramu, Pelham, Melina, Calum, Etta, this Dren, who's silica-based creature. He's not human, but he's very highly evolved and is a master teacher as well. These are living, breathing, real beings in existence that people on Earth do not know exist yet or don't remember. Many races come to this planet and have visited here because Earth has been blowing up hydrogen bombs in our own atmosphere, radiating the entire frickin' planet. They think that's the most insane thing they've ever seen, that a planet of people would choose to blow up such things with negative radiation effects deliberately. Not even war. Of course, they were drawn to those explosions, but not because they want to dominate the Earth, because they want to keep Earth from blowing themselves to bits. Then they got to take on the burden of all those discarnate Atmas, no bodies left, and they got to go incorporate them in all their worlds and fix them before they can allow them to mingle in their own people, because they're backward, nonsensical, terrorized, destructive, negative beings on Earth. That isn't who their natural state is. It's not what they are. It's what they've been made to be. Not of free will, against their free will. That history that did that is no longer out in space. So it can't be done to them again. But what was done to them needs to be reversed. When psychologists and gurus on this planet finally realize that Earth people are not native to this world, and that the subconscious mind is an unnatural, artificial state, then they'll be able to solve healing psychological problems, emotional problems, mental problems. But they're never going to do it thinking that all that's coming from the human brain. Because other than barring some vitamin shortage or deficiency, it's not coming from the brain at all. Thoughts and emotions don't originate in Earth bodies and brains, growing up in one lifetime, learning almost nothing that matters. If you don't grow up on a planet learning about all those races out there and that technology and that spirituality, how can you be expected to change? Well, you can't. We're not alone in the universe. That is what disclosure is all about. Not just disclosure about all the millions, hundreds of millions of worlds out there, but on levels and then major divisional dimensions. That's all been, people have been made to forget all about that history they have. And they do have a right to recall it, to recover it. That's the only reason I'm here. For now. If I left here tonight, I'd still be helping this world change from a different reality. Because I know who and what I am and my co-creative purpose with the source behind all life. This is not for me to figure out later on, I know. And all I'm endeavoring to do is help people become the knower as well. That's it for me. Now, Turellian, when we go outside of this planet's atmosphere, we're about to go on a journey. I will serve as a guide to get people outside this atmosphere, and we'll meet with Turellian. Because he has an 18-foot tall body, he'll show us. He looks human, standing in space outside Earth's atmosphere. It looks like a Greek god. Long, slightly curly blonde hair, big blue eyes, slightly pointed ears, handsome, 18 feet tall compared to us. And he doesn't even have a physical body anymore. Because 1 billion years ago, the entire Say-Rays race immortalized their bodies, not by making them live forever. They dematerialized the genome, the pattern, the DNA, stored it in the spherical nature of their being. When they need to present it to someone or even walk on a planet and shake your hand, if such a thing was needed, they draw from the omnipresent toroidal energy of the universe, manifest a form around it, and say hi. Then they dissolve it because they don't have the burden of pushing around a body. They have to feed and go to the bathroom. Ambassador Turellian demonstrates our potential by demonstrating himself. So he serves as a kind of a focal point around which we circle to go on these journeys, to keep us focused and getting something productive out of these journeys. The process is the same as when a person on earth puts their body to sleep at night. Daydreaming that people do all over the world, just idly fantasizing about being on a beach, being in the mountains, being on that vacation, being on another planet, being in another galaxy, does not take place in the human brain at all. It is an aspect or an ability of the spherical being running the body that sees into that one energy it's made of and can know things at great distances in different realities and can travel to them. The speed of light and gravity and dark holes and black holes have no effect upon the movement of this one energy or the atmas that run in it, the true beings we are. So we go into the U to open a doorway through the pineal gland to help wake up the atma so it can simply keep the body in a trance state we call sleep, just like it puts it in every night. Only we go out consciously because my voice, I've learned how to run this body when I've got it in the trance state called sleep, even with the eyes open, so that I can guide a journey like this and describe what it is we're seeing so people can begin to remember how to imagine leaving their body, how to imagine being off world, out in space, not feeling cold or heat, not feeling radiation from the sun in their true form, and how to imagine going back to the worlds they once lived on, how to imagine going into the higher dimensions above the physical universe, astral, causal, mental, etheric, through the void and beyond it into the upper realities, where pure positive energy reigns and no negative nature can go. It's left behind with the bodies in the lower planes in the trance state called sleep. And there are beings who help keep the Atma going on these journeys from bringing fear and negativity with them for a short time. It helps them to bring back this awareness to the physical life on Earth and enlighten the body that never got this on Earth in any educational system. This is important. When I do this, I'm connecting with the energy out in space outside of planet Earth's atmosphere. What certain people on Earth call toroidal energy, the energy of the universe, 0-point energy, divine spirit, it doesn't matter what you label it, it is what it is. It does what it does. It is non-nuclear, non-atomic, primordial, first sound, original energy that is everywhere, that supports things like galaxies and planets and moons and suns and stars, each of which has a toroidal field around it floating in this other ether. Scientists on Earth admit they don't know what this dark matter is, except it's not dark, except human eyes can't see it. So we begin to see more of what it looks like through infrared and ultraviolet and X-rays and all these other frequencies of light, because there is no limit to the speed of light. That is a self-conceived, entrapping concept people have come up with on Earth because physical eyes were relied on to determine it. And physical eyes cannot see that black energy out there in space is actually a white golden light. They have to get out of their body and look at it as the Atman, and they can see it plain as day. So I'm sending the hue out, and it connects with Turelian, who's waiting outside of Earth's atmosphere for us to go on a journey with him. And I guide these journeys, and Turelian serves as a central focal point of stability and focus. He doesn't have the emotional negativity or mental thoughts, problems of people on Earth, doesn't have a subconscious mind. The Galactic Alliance personnel that go with us on these journeys, the master teachers that go with us on these journeys do not have subconscious minds either. Earth people do. They're not supposed to. Let's get something correct right now. Earth people are not supposed to have a subconscious mind. That's the trap. So when I do that tone a little higher, is connecting into that plane, next division we call, or people on earth call the astral plane, which is where all emotion comes from a life people have, a body they're running there, they don't even remember they're running. The emotions they experience on earth come from that life. It lives much longer than an earth body. And the same Atma, the original spherical being, is running both the physical body on earth and the astral body. That connects to the causal plane. Things there move through cause and effect, the observation of instant reaction to what you think and feel. That goes to the mental plane. Everything there is moved, and all matter is moved in bodies of a higher molecular time rate, finer matter, through thought. It's instantaneous. In the etheric plane, the top end of the mental plane, where bodies are more transparent, made of a finer energy. It is the connecting consciousness of a body you're running that can make the leap over the void known to certain esoteric groups that's above the etheric plane and cross over into the Atma realm, the first higher realm of pure conscious energy, the primordial hue, the first sound behind creation. The energy above that void is pure positive. There's no positive and negative, no planets, no moons, no stars, no suns. They are not needed there because all beings create their own light, and all things there that are manifest and held up and manifested by beings and held in place are luminous. There's no fatigue, no sleep. You don't get tired. These are not physical forms that can go across that void. Only the Atma, the pure being, the real you, the spherical being, can do this. In the void, what some people call this blank area, some people think it's the realm of the Supreme Being. It is not. It is a barrier of pure hue energy that keeps any negative nature from crossing it to go into the upper realities where we all originally came from. That goes into the Atma plane, the original home of each individual, from which we departed in order to experience running bodies in the lower worlds of time and space long, long ago. There's a being, Sat Nam, there. It means true name, first sound, first manifestation you might see, supreme being, whatever you want to call it, who is a subordinate of the other much higher beings, but all connected, all purely co-creating in harmony. No negative nature exists here whatsoever. Animals and plants and trees are conscious. People can go there and experience what it's like to be any of these other creatures. They have vocal cords. They can talk. You can talk to a cow. And it brings about a respect for all life you cannot get any other way. And then you bring that back down to earth, where you never learned it, couldn't learn it. That goes into a realm that was recently created between the sixth plane and the fifth plane, the Atma plane, in a special parallel dimension where there's a huge floating landmass, circular, floating in a blue, cobalt blue light, backed by a golden white energy, 6 snow-covered mountain ranges in a circle in the center, and a white luminous beach surrounds it. There are no stars, no planets, no moons, no suns here. This is how we connect these points. You must be able to imagine what these places are like in order to go to them, or the omnipresent spirit people pray to, which is a co-creator with us, cannot take you there. We are meant to be co-creators with that and what we call the ocean of sound and light, the source prime creator, the ancient one, that's in a plane, many planes above the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, which is what it's called. It's a teaching facility that involves both master teachers and what are called silent mentors, the mechanics of creation, those beings who maintain the multidimensional creation. Galaxies, planets, and moons, and suns, and stars, and parallel dimensions, and higher realities, the void, etc. Imagine someone you love and respect, you're grateful they are in your life, a person, place, or thing, because it opens a doorway through the pineal gland in the center of the human brain. Always does, always works, never does otherwise. It provides a person working with it with a certain kind of protection they must experience for themselves to know it, so they can begin to recover their once vast understanding of the primordial first sound, the hue itself, and what it does. There is no negative nature in the hue whatsoever. No positive and negative, good and bad, none of that. It is the energy behind and supporting such things that people imagine. So when we go back into this energy, we're beginning to step back into our own godhood, our own co-creative nature with the source behind all life itself. We are meant to go beyond worship of it to respecting it and each other and all life. We are required to awaken to and become aware of the multidimensional nature of creation and everything that's in it. This is the only way anyone can have freedom and co-creativity with the source itself. Imagine being near the ceiling, looking down on your body, sitting there with its eyes closed. Hopefully you've closed your eyes. Remember, this is simply daydreaming. Yes, you simply do this like you do when you put the body to sleep at night. And when you drift off and go unconscious, you're really leaving the body because the body and the brain shut off and you close your eyes to outside influences. The heart and lungs and respiratory and blood circulation continue on automatic while you're gone every single night. If people on earth are never trained about all this from birth, they're never going to know it or have any confidence with it when they're an adult until they learn to leap beyond the limitations of their upbringing. Very simple. When a person makes that courageous step to recover what they were made to forget, certain beings, certain energies of the hue will cross their path. This is what happens. This omnipresent energy becomes a master teacher for them. It is not their tyrant, domineering, controlling emperor. It is not some supreme tyrant somewhere. It is the one living energy supporting all life that comes from a source. We come from that same source. Look down on your body. Look out through the walls of where you live. You know what it looks like around where you live, the city, the town, the country. Be at 10,000 feet in the atmosphere. You realize you are a spherical energy, soul or atma, and you are radiating light out into the countryside. Whether it's day or night, it all appears like daylight to you, but you can tell the difference. If it's night, you can see that it's night, but everything's lit up. You can see everything. Be out in space. That's right. Outside planet Earth, out in space. You don't feel cold or heat. You don't feel radiation from the sun. And you are out standing, looking at your bare feet. That's right, your bare feet in a white golden field of light everywhere, around the earth, around the moon, around the sun, around the stars, around the galaxies, and up through the dimensions, all the same kind of light. It regulates itself to vibrate on different molecular time rates. Where we are out in space, it has a sound to it, a universal proponent that sounds like roaring thunder, not frightening, no lightning, just under your feet, rumbling through creation. And it's soothing. And you can see Turallion standing 18 feet tall in a human-looking body. Slightly curved, blonde hair to his shoulders, slightly pointed ears like an elf, big blue eyes, about 36, kind of a satin gown on, you might say, like a Greek. I don't know how to describe it. Bare feet, and above this form he's showing us is a spherical being. It has a white central core, and then a layer of teardrop-shaped self-luminous lights around it, from white to yellow, another wider concentric circle around that, from yellow to orange, then to red, then to blue, then to green, then to green, then to blue, then to lavender and violet, and so forth. The golden exterior, like breaking down light from a prism. It is spherical. This is what we look like. It's on the front cover for the first time in Earth history. It's on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, the first book of the Parallel Time Trilogy. The covers on those books were designed with real actors in costume. These are original artwork that is on those covers. When you go into the Emerald Doorway, there's over 30 illustrations of characters and scenes, black and white, but very fine, and you can see what these people look like, these beings from other worlds, including Etta, Adren. Out in space, you can see all of us on this journey, Perry and myself, standing to each side of Turallion. Very short. We have a spherical being hovering above our physical bodies that looks to be about 36, to look just like us on Earth, but perfect, about 36, flawless, trim, handsome, beautiful, radiant. These are the forms human-like that we show to each other. The real us is that spherical being above this form. The forms are energy, not physical bodies. There are other beings here going on this journey. Master Ramu, over in a circle. There's other beings that, other than Perry and I, that are on this journey, and some that will go on it when they find this recording on Earth on YouTube. Time and space are not relevant to these journeys. They are in the omnipresent living hue itself, not space and time. And Ramu is about 6 feet tall with a short cropped black curly beard and short cropped black curly hair, maroon robe, simple belt, sandals, holding a 6 foot tall quartz crystal staff glowing with golden light. It's crested with what in Egyptian history became the Ankh, form for eternal life. It is a cross with a vertical oval hole in a vertical oval. And it's a device. It's for training purposes. You'll find out what that's for when you go into the Parallel Time Trilogy books and explore it for yourself. If you have the courage to do so, do so. Only good can come from it. And he is swarthy skin. He looks to be like he's Tibetan, but he's not from Tibet. The body form he's showing you, there's an Atma hovering above it, the real Ramu, Master Ramu. He's stationed on Earth in an area called Agam Des, third higher parallel dimension of the physical planet Earth, 3 levels up, higher molecular time rate, still in the physical universe. That Earth is quite different from the Earth you're familiar with. There is a Master Opelum who is human, about 6 feet tall, long, smooth, black, glistening hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, pale blue skin like moonstone, and he's showing you his hand with little webs between his fingers. He lifts up his neck, and there's 3 little slits, gills. Otherwise, you wouldn't know they were there. They're not like gills on a fish. And this human race, from a world called Oceania, mostly water-covered, 4 times bigger than Earth on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, is in her 3rd higher parallel dimension as well. advanced spacefaring races can go between these levels in craft. Now, Pelham is showing you that his race breathes underwater on land. This is a human race. We have similar genomes, could mate with them, actually. Not that they would want to mate with anybody from Earth, but we could. The Sayres, Turellian standing in the middle of this group, were in a circle around him. And their people were responsible for genetically engineering and uplifting, creating humanoid, and other races in the Milky Way and other galaxies, raising them up to a spacefaring level, all working together in harmony. Then they vanished to see what we'd do with it. What we're doing with it is obvious, not a pretty picture. So they've come back in representing the source behind all life to help take responsibility for heading people like people on Earth and other worlds away from self-destruction. They do not force their will on others, but they do have a limit to how much they will tolerate before they act. Etta and his wife, these are master teachers, are not human. They're hovering to the right and to the left above Ramu's shoulders. They have a spherical being, an Atma like Turellian and like you and I have, above this 3-foot long, not really salamander-like, they're not lizards. They have dexterous fingers and toes, 5 on each like humans, strong bodies, longer snout, big bulbous blue eyes, and a tail from the root to the tip that glows like crystal opal, gem-grade opal in sunlight. They're silica-based DNA. They are not carbon-based like humans. They have vocal cords. You can speak with them. They're telepathic. They have photographic memories. They're about 3 feet long from the root of their cute noses to the tip of their tail. And they're hovering above Ramu's shoulders. This is the body form they actually still have, physical bodies like this on Oceania, where Pelham comes from. And so you'll meet these beings, if you have the courage to, and begin to make your own inroads into finding out about the vast, wondrous life that exists beyond planet Earth's atmosphere. There's a ship. It's on the front cover of the Sayres Agenda book called the Emerald Star Cruiser. It's a smaller version. There are those 10 miles long. This one's a mile long. Cylindrical, flattened top. Bridge control room in the front, both ends. It's double-ended. So we're traveling through interdimensional doorways to get around creation. There's no open launch bays. It is stationed inside the ice rings, about 1.5 miles thick, that make up the rings of the planet Saturn in our solar system. It has a blue antigravitic light around its hull. And suddenly we find ourselves hovering above the planet Saturn. We've moved from out in space above Earth to the planet Saturn in an instant, in a blink. Not through time and space, through the omnipresent you that supports time and space. When you look down on the planet Saturn, it's this huge gas giant. Get online and Google it, and you'll see what Saturn looks like with its rings. And then look at the front cover of the Sayres Agenda book and see what this Emerald Star Cruiser is doing there, because it's stationed there semi-permanently for now. And it's there to protect, in part, there are many others, tyrant races from the stars from coming back into our solar system. They have been removed. It is there to protect the beings in the vast organization of world systems from the destructive tendencies in nature's sphere-driven of people on Earth, from playing among the stars until they are capable of doing it and can be trusted with it. You can see 3 scout craft, what called their scout class, about 30 feet wide. Clear glass-like blue tops. These are very modern. 3 semi-spheric pods on the bottom. With anti-gravitic blue light around them, moving into the central section of the hull of this mile-long vessel. They raise their molecular time rate, the toroidal field around their craft, upward by charging it more, and it simply changes the molecular time rate to that of a parallel dimension. They're able to move right through the hull. You can see an opening in it and a big soccer field size hangar bay with other ships landed. And it goes down inside that craft, lowers its molecular time rate, looks solid again, and lands. So there are no open launch bay doors on this kind of ship. In the next instant, we're looking down at our feet. Now, these are your energy bodies that look just like you, that you show to other beings when you go out of your body on journeys. You're a spherical being hovering above this pure energy form. It's a projection from the white core of your being. And you're looking down at your bare feet wiggling in plush blue carpet. And it has a vibration to it. It's glowing. And you can see tables in a huge observation lounge, 60 feet high and hundreds of feet long. And you can see observation windows that are vertical, about 4 to 6 feet long, or horizontal rather, not vertical. And they're curved outwards so you can look out into the ice rings of Saturn, the gas giant, the stars in space, the many moons that circle Saturn. And then you look around the room, you realize Trillian is standing behind us, 18 feet tall, just smiling. And in front of us, sitting down in egg-shaped chairs with blue cushions in front of blue glass oval tables, are different ship's personnel. Commanders of this ship, a man and a woman, husband and wife, co-commanders, stand up to greet us. They are human. They are not from Earth. The other ship's personnel, 300 of them, various races, human, humanoid, some with snake-like skin but smooth, no scales, snake-like eyes, no hair, some with pale blue skin, like Opellum, who's standing here, and others more monk-like or more like gurus from different parts of the solar system, different parts of the parallel dimensions of the physical universe. And some that look humanoid, that are very hairy, or some with longer earlobes, or some with violet eyes, tall, about 10 feet, longer necks and longer fingers. And they're from a planet called Xentranomon 1. That's on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy in the parallel dimension where the Earth is, you're familiar with. And there's a man and a woman standing there, very elegant, very like swans, beautiful and handsome. And they're showing you bodies they have on their home world, 3.5 million years old, immortalized in a different way than Trillian, who's standing behind us. Oceanians, like Opellum, and the Xentranomos people have mastered genetic science. In this case, they've immortalized their bodies so they do not age. They're responsible for governing the worlds in just a little over 1/2 of the Milky Way galaxy, and they work in harmony, the Galactic Alliance of World Systems now. It's just big. So these people are here to meet you, for you to meet them, to be aware of them. When you go into the Savior's Agenda book, you'll be able to know their names. There are 4 beings whose name I mentioned, Dantium, Lantium, Shantiol, and Tonaltiol, which are humans from beyond the Pleiades area, thousands of star systems and planets beyond the 7 sisters people see with the naked eyes from Earth. And they are Galactic Alliance members and becoming master teachers. And they, if you call on them, will help you remove secondary implants, the subconscious things that drive people to make negative decisions. It's up to you. So we mingle, and you'll see 300 of the ship's personnel, men and women, male and female, approach each of you on this journey and telepathically speak with you. And you discover you can telepathically speak with them. This is Atma to Atma, sphere to sphere, with a human representation or body form projected. So you can see what their flawless physical representation is really like. When Turelian points upward, we find ourselves outside of the ice rings of Saturn again, in a circle around him. Etta and Dinner still hovering above him, Master Ramuz to the left, Film to the right. And there's a series of master teachers that come from different world systems, well-dressed, all about 36-ish in age, an Atma hovering above them, the real them, the spherical them, the soul, the Atma. And then you see a doorway open in space above the planet Saturn, like a vortex, like an hourglass. And it's blue-green light whirling clockwise, and we move through it with Turelian faster than the speed of light. Up this vortex, and we come out the other side. We are in a vast, pale blue void. Everywhere you look, in every direction is this one light, but nothing, no buildings, no structures, no beings you can make out. You look behind you, below you, and you see this whirling vortex vanish. And as far as you can see below you is this blue energy. We are in the middle of a vast barrier between the top of the etheric plane below us and the Atma plane where Satnam is above us, above the void. In the distance, you can see we're moving towards something far, far in the distance. It's a little speck of light that appears and then grows until suddenly we are hovering above a white luminous beach, as far as you can see to the left and to the right. In the distance is this beach that seems to curve slightly to the right and slightly to the left. So you get the impression that this land we're approaching, this shoreline, is round. This white luminous sand is glowing about a foot above it. And there are these trees that look like jungle trees, but they're made of crystalline materials, luminous, and energy moving in them. We're moving above these trees, and these birds come out of these trees that have come to greet us to this Atma realm above the void. No negative nature whatsoever back on Earth has been brought with you here. It cannot go through the void. It is left turned off with your sleeping bodies in the etheric, mental, causal, astral, and physical worlds. You are responsible and are running those bodies in those heavens. And you need to remember this in order to fully recover who you are. Because the Atma is multidimensional capable. The soul, the Atma, can run bodies in different planes simultaneously. So you have been made to forget a great deal. In this realm, these birds are about a foot long. They look like blue jays with long V-shaped split tails like swallows, but they look like blue jays with big blue eyes and rainbow colored feathers, thousands of colors blended down their face. And they have twin sets of bird wings above there, not like a hummingbird, not like a dragonfly, twin sets, but they look like bird wings. And they're fluttering fast and hovering, and they're singing. They have vocal cords. They're photographic memories. There's an Atma hovering above these birds, and they are singing the hue in male and female voices with flawless, perfect vocal capability. They're sending out the hue on multiple levels in harmony. A beautiful, hauntingly beautiful melody. They're greeting us to this realm. And then they disperse and go into the trees. We fly over the top of the jungle around Turelian, like planets moving around the sun. And we come to stop above a fountain we can see below us. The fountain is about 15 feet wide, made of scalloped alabaster stone, white stone, on a round pedestal. And there's a white marble seat circling it, flat, of a white stone with 12 carved legs. In the center of this fountain is the statue of a man standing on a square block, maybe 6 feet tall, bronze skin, gold-colored eyes, about 36, ageless, 2 gold bracelets on each of his upper arms, strong of build, bare-chested, muscular trim, a little white tunic dress from his waist down to just above his bare ankles. His hands are out, facing downward, palms out, and a white golden shaft of light is coming down into the statue, out through his hands, filling this bowl with this luminous white golden light. It's pouring over these scalloped edges and dropping in a smooth, luminous sheet behind this bench, this seat, and disappearing in the ground. When you look out past this mountain, you see 7 circles of botanical gardens, and in the distance, a brown moss-covered path. The bottom of this fountain is a 100-foot wide white marble-like floor. That brown moss-covered path winds its way into the countryside and up to the base of a long snow-covered mountain range. There's a palatial estate, crystalline materials, big steps like Greek pillars. That is the realm of the being who supervises this place. And he is now standing up in the air. It looks just like the statue, but it's a being named Satnam, true name, first sound, first manifestation of any form you might see. And above him, a very large spherical being hovering, the real Satnam. He chose to show us this form. He could show us any form. And so we have been welcomed here. When you look at that snow-covered mountain range, and Satnam disappears like a bullet into the distance, and we follow him. And we find ourselves standing on these long, gold-colored steps, luminous, leading up to pillars that go into an interior. We go into the interior, it's like the football stadium. There's a throne chair at the back of this, but no one sits in it. Satnam's too busy, he doesn't that way. And when we go into the center of this and stand around this throne chair, suddenly we're above this palatial estate that's centered at the base of the snow-covered mountain range, and we're moving over the top of the mountain range, vast snows like the Himalayas, until we come to vast pasture lands with violet and green and blue-colored grasses and different kinds of exotic forests and lakes, and out in the distance far away, a gold sandy beach curved like a half moon around a luminous golden blue ocean. When you look down into these pasture lands, you can see cattle, birds. You can see different aquatic life in these lakes. There are dolphins and whales and other animals way out in the distance in that ocean, and you know they're there, but you see an Atma hovering above them. You can go down and talk to a monkey or an animal, but they have vocal cords here, and there's an Atma hovering above them. And you can speak with them. You can even experience what it's like to be one of them and be an intelligent being and respect them and have them respect you. This is a place where we can learn about respecting all life and bring this awareness back to Earth. There's no negative nature here, none. We're going to go out into that distance. We're going to find ourselves suddenly standing on this half-moon bay-shaped, luminous golden sandy beach. And as we wiggle our toes in it, this golden energy comes up from the sand, through the top of our head smiling, goes up into the white core of our being, hovering above this form, and out into these layers, brightening it with a certain wisdom of the Atma plane we were made to forget. And you look out in the ocean and you find yourself walking on the water with Turelian, moving over the top of it until we're way out in this ocean, and then we sink underneath the waves. Now you are in an energy body form that looks human. You are an Atma, and you can breathe this water in. It goes right through you like it's an open door. And you see dolphins and whales and other aquatic life approach you, and they speak with you. You can understand them here. There is a spherical Atma, a soul hovering above each of them. This is where beings go to experience learning how to respect all life. You'll find other human and humanoid life moving through the water here from different worlds and planetary systems. Some of you will experience different beings that you once knew that are familiar to you from other worlds. They may embrace you. They may simply talk with you and help you to remember you once knew this stuff. If we go up above that ocean and look in the distance, we see that it continues in every direction. Different forests, different lakes, different mountains, different kinds of terrains, and other oceans. And there's life from all over the multiverse here. Then suddenly we find ourselves high above a circular landmass. We have moved above the Atma plane to a specially created parallel dimension between the 6th and the 5th plane above the void. And this is a huge floating landmass with a white luminous beach around its circumference. And there is a blue, cobalt blue light around it in every direction. And if you look, you can see a white golden light behind the blue light. And there are beings supporting this floating landmass. There's no suns or planets or moons or stars here. All of you are lighting up the countryside here. You look down and see 6 snow-covered mountain peaks in a circle near the center of this landmass. And out in the distance, a white luminous beach circling it, and what looks like a massive curling of a blue-green luminous water wave circling the entire circumference of this landmass. It looks like water, but it is not water. And you can see down in this valley between these 6 mountain peaks near the center of this landmass, a crystal sphere about 4 feet wide hovering above a blue pedestal. It looks like lapis lazuli, like a blue stone with gold lace through the polished curved edges, but it's rectangular. And this sphere is hovering above it, has a cobalt blue star, radiant, calling to you from the center of this sphere. It is hovering, it is standing upon a circular disc-shaped island surrounded by the blue-green luminous lake. And up above high are these 6 snow-covered mountain peaks. There's a shaft of white golden light coming down from above into this stone. And it goes down into the hollowed-out interior of the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. Remember, this is above Satnam's realm. This is above the void. This is between the 5th and 6th planes. There are many planes above here. When you look down on the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, from above it, you can see 4 quadrants, like dividing a sphere in half and then half again, kind of a triangular quarter of each section. And about down the middle roadway in the center towards the coast to the right is a clearing in each of these 4 quadrants. This is a vast territory. And there's one of these spheres floating above a circular white marble floor, not on a pedestal. And the northwest quadrant is a series of 12 trees. They look like giant weeping willow trees with broad spoon-shaped luminous leaves. And standing above them is a human man and woman, humanoid looking, simple gown, long blonde hair or brown or red or different colored hair, different colored skin, male and female alternating. There are 12. When you look in the face, there's no facial features. You look into them, you can see different levels of galaxies. Above these bodies is a huge spherical being, 4 times larger than what we are, twice as many teardrop-shaped layers, very bright. And these are silent mentors. These are the mechanics of creation. These beings maintain not only the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, the Atma plane, the galaxies, the parallel dimensions, the doorways between them, etc. And in this Hue Expansion Ray Academy, master teachers like Ramun Apellam and many others from the Galactic Alliance and from other dimensions and other worlds can come here and share for the first time between what you would call a loving master teacher and the mechanics of creation, because they normally had no contact in the past. And out of this alliance is coming a third order of being, something that shares both the compassion and love for all life and the pure function of being able to maintain the multidimensional creation. All you need to do is respect these beings. They already respect you, your potential. When you look down now, you can see that you are hovering around Turelion outside Earth's atmosphere, all the way down through the plains. You are in both places simultaneously for a moment. And then you see Earth with its polar ice caps and its oceans and landmass, and the barren moon circling in an orbit around the Earth. It does not turn on its axis. No atmosphere to speak of. And the sun in the distance. Then you see the Earth change before your eyes to an Earth in the same space, higher vibration, has no polar ice caps. The moon is covered with atmosphere, little lakes and rivers and oceans, and pyramid structures in dome cities on its surface. No polar ice caps. This Earth has no polar ice caps. There's the sun in the distance. It's one big continent from the left to the right hemisphere that extends its way almost to about a third of the way of the North Pole, and again down a third of the way above the South Pole. You can see through the planet. On the other side is a continent, 2/3 its side we call Atla or Atlantis. This is Lemuria and an Atla continent, colony continent of it, on a planet Earth that would never, poles never flip. It was never destroyed like Lemuria 100,000 years ago on the Earth you're familiar with. It has no negative nature in its atmosphere, no pollutants in its oceans. The oceans there glow a foot above the ocean, as they should. There is a emerald green glowing beach. It's half moon shaped, down near a third of the way above the South Pole in a tropical area. And from space, you can see there's a single snow-covered mountain. And suddenly we're down on this green beach on Earth in a higher parallel dimension, third higher parallel dimension, wiggling our toes in emerald green sand. You can hear the sound of the ocean crashing on this curved beach, and Turelion standing up to his knees in water offshore, smiling. Inland, beyond this giant jungle trees, is a brown moss-covered path going straight back. And there's a statue of a woman about a mile in the distance, in a clearing, with the hands up, glowing with this green light, charging this beach as a device from another world. And this path continues up to a single dome covering 3 pyramids that's at the left side of the lower plateau of this single snow-covered mountain range. And up near the top of the mountain, coming out of a cavern opening 2/3 of the way towards the summit, is a roaring, luminous blue-green waterfall, dropping thousands of feet down a sheer cliff face to disappear into a blue-green jungle that surrounds the backside of this domed city. Above this open waterfall is an oval tunnel with dome-shaped lights leading down into the interior of this mountain. It is an interdimensional doorway that goes to the interior of a base built in 1908 inside Mount Shasta in Northern California, the United States. Very highly protected. The dome city, when you look at it, there's a little oval blue-green lake, little white ivory domes in the countryside, little white paths, and in the distance to the left, 3 golden-sided quartz-capped pyramids surrounding a long oval dome building. And in the back half of it, a small mountain range with little waterfalls cascading down its side, built there for the aesthetic pleasure of the beings who work there, like the Sayres, Galactic Alliance personnel from planet Zid-Tarnami 1 near the galactic core of the Milky Way galaxy. People like Turelion, some master teachers, certain silent mentors work here. There's no negative thoughts or feelings in this atmosphere. And it is a prototype. It means the moon that's circling this Earth, alive with life and atmosphere, will one day replace or be superimposed over the one that is barren and dead virtually now, circling the Earth, the planet you're familiar with. When you look down on this beach and your toes are wiggling this glowing sand, it moves up your body, up through your smiling face, goes into the white core of your being hovering there. And the water goes up Turelian's legs into the being that he is hovering above the form he's showing you. And then you find yourself hovering near the ceiling where you live on Earth. And all you're doing is endeavoring to bring the awareness of this journey back to that Earth consciousness. Never learned it. And you're going to be storing it in the electromagnetic toroidal field, like the one that circles the Earth. You can look it up and Google it. And it circles the Earth, and it circles you as a being near the ceiling, and it circles in an aura around your physical body. And you're storing the memory of this journey out there, not in your brain. The energy moves through your body that's in the trance state called sleep with the eyes closed, if you have them closed. And then it moves through you unhindered out into 3 pyramids stationed on Earth. 2 at the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans and 1 in a hollowed-out interior of a mountain in the Himalayas. And it goes out into the solar system to a big pyramid stationed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field that circles in the orbit of what was a planet around the sun between Mars and Jupiter. And then it's beamed out to bigger pyramids between individual stars, and it eventually ends up in the white, what you call a black hole isn't black, but in the central white golden light, shaft of light that runs through the center of the nucleus of our galaxy. And it continues upward. This is the flow of the hue through human life. We are meant to be co-creators with it in this way. When you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you for the journey today. Went to Hue Expansion Ray Academy and meet with those silent mentors center.
This is public. I mean, this is open. I'm not holding any of this back from Earth people. Most people wouldn't comprehend it, probably wouldn't recognize it yet, but eventually they will because it's something they once knew. I'll leave it at that. This is up for people's individual experience anyway. This is what this work is all about.
Okay, so thank you very much to guide us today to upper worlds as usual. And everyone, please get your books, read your books to get some experience, and see you again next time.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
If anybody wants to donate towards this work,
yes,
they can do it. They'll go into paralleltime.com. It'll be on the recorded thing when Perry puts it on our YouTube channel. And some of you are being prepared to help this work financially in a much larger scale. It's not about trying to get anything from anybody. It's about people being prepared to set themselves free. Maybe they have great wealth and a little part of it they wouldn't miss. The point is, screenplays are written for these books for feature film development. They were written before the books were ever written. Those who know who they are will know who they are. They can contact me through the contact link at paralleltime.com. They can donate if they wish to, or let their presence be known if they're inspired to do so. I will leave it at that.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. We see you again next time.
Thank you,
Please
Perry.
don't forget to share and subscribe this channel. Thank you, Lembrel. Bye-bye.
Bye.